everybody. This is Ramon Ray, publisher of zoneofgenius.com. Glad you're here with me today, because if you weren't here with me today, it'd be a lonely show. It'd be just me talking to myself. Well, obviously, Denise is here as well, but it'd be a little different. So welcome to The Rundown with Ramon. Those of you who are watching me, those of you who are hearing me, I don't know if there's any other option. Glad you're here today. Denise Hamilton, welcome to the Rundown with Ramon podcast and show. How are things in your world today as we speak?
They are incredible, mostly because I choose to make them that way. Like I know you do every single day.
And isn't it right? That's a choice, isn't it? That is so true. That's a whole nother show. Denise Hamilton, before we get into your new book, Indivisible, talk to us a bit who you are. Where are you before the book was published? Like, give us a little bit of a sense of who overall Denise Hamilton is today, who you serve and what you do.
Well, I'm what you call an inclusion strategist. And people are like, what does that mean? What I do is I help organizations actually operationalize their DEI goals. We have a lot of lofty ideals and great big value statements that are made, but the trouble comes when the rubber has to hit the road and people have to actually implement it. So I specialize in that space. I've been an executive for over 25 years in Fortune 50 companies and in minority-owned companies. And so I've been able to see like the full gamut of experience, and I'm able to bring that business acumen to this space, because I think it's really important to understand the bottom line and the lofty goals.
Got it. So we have a brand new book coming out, Indivisible. Why is it important today? Why should we read it? What's inside Indivisible? And the title alone sounds provocative. You don't know whether you want to read it in private, like, let me not read this on a train, or whether you want to read it in Times Square with cameras on you. I'm not sure, but you would tell me right now.
Absolutely. And I hope people will wear it like a t-shirt.
Yes.
So I believe that the goals that you said are incredibly important. And we are in danger of accepting lesser goals, goals that are easier to reach, but don't really move the needle. And I think one of the big challenges I've seen in my work in DEI is that people are looking for things they can easily measure, easily kind of just add on top of what they're doing, when what we really require is a value change, right? Let me tell you what I mean when I say that.
Please.
Let's say I'm going to grade motherhood, right? I'm going to give you 5 metrics. You feed your child, you make sure they get to school, they have clothes on, let's just
and you put the painting from kindergarten on the refrigerator. You got to have that. Okay.
So you've got 5 metrics of what it means to be a good mother.
Fair enough.
Well, guess what? You could be killing it on all 5 of those metrics. But if you beat your child half to death every night, you are not a good mother. That's what I think we're doing. I think we picked some like easy to reach or like simple metrics so that we can have the illusion of success, when really these values, being an inclusive organization, it's a value. It's like motherhood. How do you measure it? How do you think about it? It's bigger than, the Noah's Ark approach of two of each kind in the ark. So I think that what I want people to do is replace these subordinate lesser goals with a bigger goal. And that means to be indivisible. And what does that mean to me? It means that we have a deep, profound understanding of our interconnectedness. The best kind of example of this for me is the human body.
Okay.
The brain and the lungs, they don't sit around all day arguing which one of them is more important. They understand the importance of each other, right? And if you think about your legs are the most powerful muscle groups in your body, but you are going absolutely nowhere if the tiny little bones in your ears don't manage your balance, right? So it's not about size, it's not about position, it's not about the number, it just isn't. It's about the functionality. Does every part do its part to contribute to a successful whole? So what would that look like? And I guarantee you, if we shifted our thinking and became more focused on becoming indivisible, there's a whole host of stuff we wouldn't argue about anymore. I guarantee you, we wouldn't be arguing about should we feed school children. We wouldn't be arguing. There's a whole set of topics that we wouldn't even talk about anymore. So my feeling is that We need to move from a posture of a renter to an owner, right? And what does that look like for me? An owner is concerned with and invested in the long-term viability of the asset. They're fixing the crack in the foundation. They are updating the electrical and the plumbing, stuff that nobody even sees. They don't do the sexy stuff. What does a renter do? A renter uses peel and stick tile.
That's right. That's right.
They're just
It's
here.
not yours.
It's not yours.
That's
it's
right.
temporary. It's extraction. They're trying to extract the temporary value out of the asset. And what I would submit to you is we have far too many extractors among us who just seek to see what can I get out of this environment rather than what I can put in. So not only are they not planting trees for the next generation, they're willing to pluck up the trees somebody else planted that we're sitting under right now. And so my feeling is we need to call those extractors out and stop celebrating them. Celebrate the fact that we all have a responsibility to do our part and to be clear about what our giftedness is that we add to this big story called America. It's our generation's turn to write the next chapter. Is it going to be a rehash of chapter 9? Or are we going to write something new and innovative and incredible? And are we a nation of possibilities? Or are we wrapped up and steeped in hopelessness and helplessness? So that's what the book's about.
I love it. And this is Denise Hamilton, her new book, Indivisible. 2 questions come to mind for me, Denise, and please help me remember the second question because I'll just forget it like so fast. I'll even forget I'm talking to you. I'll go off and get coffee and realize, oh my Lord, I have a live interview I'm doing here today. So one, I hear you saying that, and I won't mention brand names, I want to, but big company X.
Yes.
They hired 60% Black people, Denise. Isn't that? We're done. I'm hearing you say that, no, they're doing their best. The board said, Denise has been screaming at us or talking nicely to us. And we are good people. By the way, we are good people. We recognize we have an issue. Everybody, we need 7% Chinese people in the cafeteria. And we need 3% Jamaicans. Why is that not good enough? And I'm hearing that you're saying that's not, because that's the thing I can measure. But isn't that what all the big companies are trying to do? Let's get 17% of women in our board. So help me understand if I'm asking it right. That lens, break it down what you're saying not or to do. Help me understand that.
Yeah, I think those things are tactics.
Okay.
Right? They're tactics, but what is all of that for? Right? If you let me into the room, but you don't allow me a voice, then it doesn't matter if I'm in the room. If you hire a bunch of people, but they're all segregated to the bottom of the organization, then it doesn't matter. If I have to change who I am and give up the values that I care about to be a part of this environment, then was this a win, right? The bigger discussion that's like, what are we doing this for? We're doing it so that we can have more innovative, creative organizations that tap into the individuality of each person. Well, are you really allowing that? That's the bigger goal. And I get the temptation. I get it. I get that you have to measure things, right? But I also think you need a seed change of how you think about this. The best example of this I can think of is the oil and gas industry. It used to be normal to go to work and lose a finger, fall off a ladder and crack your skull open. It used to be so normal to have industries. They just paid you more because you were going to have an injury. Now, what do? They track the number of days since an accident. They have it as a big sign on the wall that says 230 days since an accident. And they don't mean an accident on the oil rig. If you trip in the office over somebody's chair, they count it as an accident. They had a complete value change, organizational change of how they looked at safety, not as like these little things that we're going to play around the edges, but as something that we're going to weave into every single fiber of our organization. That's what we need to do. So if you're looking for the lowest bar to say you were inclusive, then I don't think that's the spirit with which to create inclusion. And I also think it's really important that you can see that you prepare yourself for the homeostasis of these systems, right? And what do I mean by homeostasis? Do you remember ninth grade biology, Ramon? I know it was a long.
It was like long. I didn't even know if I want to remember it, but I'm gonna go with you. I ninth grade. Okay, I'm 9 years away from 60, but go ahead. Okay.
Yes. So, a cell, it's a function in a cell, and a
Yes.
cell would let in nutrients and vitamins, and it would let out waste and toxins.
It's coming back to me.
Anything to
Yes.
keep you average, normal, regular. Your body does the same thing. When you're hot, what do? You sweat. When you're cold, what do? You shiver. And that is all designed to keep you normal, average, regular. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be normal, average, regular. I want to be extraordinary. I want to be
Absolutely.
incredible. But guess what? When you try to do things that are new and innovative and challenging, that homeostatic force still pushes in to say, who do you think you are? Go back to normal. This is, we want the good old days, right? So we have to be ready. We have to be positioned. And when you don't have the core value, it's very hard to withstand those homeostatic forces that are trying to push you back to normal, right? So I think it's really important to have this as a core belief, not as a PR stunt. And let's just face it, there's a lot of folks that do this work because of PR. They just don't want people to be mad at them. And that's not the reason to do this work. The reason to do this work is because you believe in the extraordinary nature of people. I have a recurring nightmare. It's a recurring nightmare. I believe that the cure for cancer has already been born, but they were just born in the wrong neighborhood. We cannot afford to waste genius. We just can't afford it. And we sit around, I mentioned earlier this idea of like hopelessness and helplessness. I'm an heir. I refuse to live beneath my privilege. I am capable of impacting the world in incredibly powerful ways. Literally, how dare I walk through the world through the lens of hopelessness and helplessness? That's just unacceptable. And I have a muse, a historical muse, and that's Harriet Tubman. And I think about this young woman, enslaved woman in 1800s. She had a disability. She had a seizure disorder. She couldn't read. She couldn't write. She didn't have a horse. She didn't have a map. She didn't know anybody in the North. She had never been more than a mile from the plantation, and she was alone. And she ran. She ran and got herself to freedom. That's enough from the that's
Done.
enough. We can end the story right there, and it would have been phenomenal, right? But that's not where the story ends.
Yeah.
She turns around and she goes back. Unbelievable. And she went back over and over and over again. And this is the key. This is a really subtle thing in this story that I think people overlook. Over her lifetime, she probably did about 70 people on the Underground Railroad. She didn't save 70 people at a time. This trip, she got 3. The next trip, she got 5. The next trip, she got 4. We don't have any patience. We don't have any stamina. We don't have commitment to an ideal that allows us to make steps forward every single year. But think about the lives. Think about those 70 people. All their descendants grew up in freedom because of that commitment. How dare we move through the world with hopelessness and helplessness? Do we have less assets than Harriet Tubman? Do we have less education, less information, less resources? Like, it sounds ridiculous when you say it like that. And the truth of it is, we're walking around here living beneath our privilege, living beneath our capabilities to exact change and to create opportunity. So I hope that my book empowers people and pushes them and reminds them who they are, that they can do hard things. I believe we are a people that can do hard things.
And we have done it over the years.
Listen, we send somebody to the moon in a tin can with computers that aren't even as sophisticated as the phones we keep in our pockets. We did that. We did that. So what else can we do?
Yeah.
We need to shift this conversation from punishment to possibility. What can we do? What creative, innovative forces can we unlock? Literally let the best dancers dance.
Hold
Let
on.
the
I'm sorry, Denise. I'm saying,
Right.
huh? No, I'm not talking to the president. No, Denise Hamilton, her new book, Invisible. Huh? Yeah, I'll be with you in a second. Not the president. No. Denise Hamilton. My bad. Okay. Sorry, Denise. Somebody came into my office, thought I was talking to the president. Go ahead. Sorry.
I just believe it. I just believe it, Ramon. I believe it. I think that we are so powerful. We're so capable.
Yes.
And we need to turn those energies into solving our own problems.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of challenges. It's like we've inherited this great, beautiful old house with beautiful bones, great bones. It's our turn to make sure the bathroom is updated and that the plumbing works. Like, that's on us.
Yeah.
And we're looking around, waiting on somebody else to come. You're waiting on the Messiah, and the Messiah is waiting on you. So I think that we need to be reminded that we're interconnected and that we are powerful.
Interconnected and powerful.
If we were all in a stadium, right? And everybody dropped a couple pieces of trash at their feet, what would that stadium look like? It would
Terrible.
be trashed. But guess what? The flip side is equally true. What if everybody bent down and just picked up the trash around their feet? What if we did that? What would the stadium look like then?
Instantly clean.
We need some folks to bend down and pick up the trash around their feet. And not wait for one person in an organization that has the DEI role. And no, inclusion is a value that is the responsibility of every single member of every group, from the Fortune 100 to the head of the PTO and the little. It's our job to unlock the greatness of our fellow community members so that we can all rise together. That's the goal.
I love this. One or two more questions, Denise. Again, we're talking to Denise Hamilton, the most amazing human in the planet. Her new book is out, Invisible, and I hope you all go out and get it on whatever platforms you choose. Please do get it and buy some copies for your friends. And you corporate leaders, definitely get copies, put them in your boardrooms, and let's make a difference in the world. Denise, you talked about libraries and et cetera. I want to bring that out. So thank you. We just touched on it. Was enlightening for me beyond the number. You know, we got 2% of this, 5% of this, 20% of this. As you said, those are good. We have to measure things, but go beyond it, which is that'll be a 20-hour conversation. That's a journey, or read the book. But talk about libraries. So, you know, one half of the aisle, justifiably, in my opinion, says, nope, no money for libraries for the kids because farmers need grants for beans, or we got to secure the border. Justifiably, in my opinion, you may not agree, but work with me here. Justifiably. Other people says kids need food. So we need to take money from the oil, from the farmers, from the EV, electric vehicle, whatever that thing is over there. We need to give it to kids, the libraries. No, can't do it because we need it because it got to be water. You get where I'm trying to get here? The politics of it, Denise, and I know there's no time to unpack it fully, but just at a high level, how do you solve that? Because she's right. The politician there's right. And he's right. What do we do with the political side of this?
I think that we have been given a mythology that the resources are finite, right? Where the resources are not finite, they're infinite. That's the beauty of the American system. We have more billionaires in this country we produce more billionaires and millionaires than any other country in the world on the face of the earth. So we have the resources. We just have created a culture of extraction where people feel proud of themselves when they don't pay their taxes. They successfully hid their assets on the Cayman Islands or in another place, and they don't have to pay their fair share. Where the richest companies in our country are proud because they keep their workforce under 40 hours so they don't have to pay health benefits. So the American taxpayer has to pay the food stamps and the Medicaid for their employees. We just have a nation that has supported and honored even extractors. But you can't have all the assets and none of the liabilities, right? Like, that's not how any kind of inheritance works. So we have given over our systems to creating laws and policies that support the process and the practice of extraction when ignoring the fact that we have to tend this garden. This is our garden. So if all I do is come to the garden and pick my vegetables out and pick my fruit out, but I never till the earth, I never water, I never fertilize, I don't know why you think next year you're going to come back and be able to be a part of the harvest. So I think it's a culture of extraction, not the lack of resources. And people will hear that as, oh, she just wants to raise taxes. I just
I
want
was
people
going to
to
go
pay.
there. I was going to ask you afterwards.
I just want people to pay their fair share.
Okay.
And if
Fair
you
enough.
don't pay your fair share, that's okay. You can find every legal loophole. You can move your assets to other countries. You can do all of those things, but you can't do that and call yourself a patriot. That's where we're going to differ. You can't do that and call yourself a person that loves your country. I have a rule. It's a simple rule. If you say you love America, you're going to have to love Americans. And what does that look like? And I don't think that we should. I got a message the other day from someone. Hey, can you help? I'm trying to help pay off some school lunch bills for some students in our community, because if they come to school and they have a balance for their school lunch, they give them a slice of bread and cheese. They don't give them the same lunch they give everyone else. So we're asking people to go into the schools and just clear some of their balances. I personally feel like that is a ridiculous conversation for the richest country in the world to be having. I want that young brain to be getting the best nutrition, not the least, because of a few dollars, right? So we're capable of solving these problems. We can't do it without the will, though. So you can be centered in what your personal advancement is going to be. You're free to do that, but you don't get to do that and declare yourself a hero of this story, right? And I'm looking for the heroes of this story. Somebody has planted trees that I sit under right now that they never benefited from. We love to talk about the forefathers, and we love to like herald people that came before us that made sacrifices. What are the sacrifices of our generation? What are we willing to do? What do we really care about? What really matters? And I feel like there's a few things that really shouldn't be debatable. And the value of human genius, of human strength, human innovation and ingenuity is so priceless and precious that I can't imagine having a society that doesn't value that denigrates it in their policies and their choices. So it's a different way of looking at this. It's not political in my mind. You know, there's very often people kind of approach my book through a left-right lens, and I don't really look at it that way. How I look at it is from the lens of an owner, right? You are going to make sure the hedge in front of your house is pruned. You're going to make sure that you water the grass, and if you had a flood in the basement, you wouldn't look down and say, oh, there's a flood in the basement, I hope it works out. You fix whatever's going on in the basement. I think we have this idea that we're sitting in the back of the boat and we're laughing at the people in the front of the boat because they have a hole. Well, guess what, honey? It's all the same boat. You rise or you fall together. And I don't know about you, doesn't it feel like we're falling?
Yeah.
I feel like we're falling. And I think it's because we've lost any even hope of seeing ourselves as interconnected. So if we do that, how would we move differently? If we shift to an owner instead of a renter, what kind of choices would we make? That's the thought experiment I'd like us all to engage in and to think about what our individual and our collective responsibilities are to make this country great.
I love it. Denise Hamilton, one more time, give us the full name of your book. If you have it available, feel free to, read the subtitle, etc. And please, one more
It's
time.
called Indivisible. You remember where that comes from? Pledge of Allegiance. We said it all of us said it as kids every day. Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think that's a really powerful phrase. And it's how to forge our differences into a stronger future, because that's what this is all about. Yeah. It isn't about rehashing the past. We can't change that. But man, can we change the future? can we make it incredible? I think that's what we should do.
I love it. Everybody, you just heard from Denise Hamilton, author of Indivisible. Get the book now. My name is Ramon Ray, publisher of zoneofgenius.com. Hearing Denise's comments, I'm convicted. I'm going out to get the book, so you should too. New book, Indivisible. I'm sure you can buy it wherever you can buy books. And again, this is my friend and the amazing human, Denise Hamilton, with her book, Indivisible. Thanks, Denise. I appreciate it.